Welcome back again for one more episode here with Ryan KRAMER. Today he's going to talk to us about probably the most important topic that you've been waiting for in how he succeeds in his business, and that is how to structure your business to do 24 deals a year. He's going to help you kind of plan that out, and I don't know much more about what he's going to say, so I'm just going to turn the time over to him, and it's all yours, Ryan. Thanks for being here.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. So welcome to the storage room today. 24 deals a year. Everybody can do that in our organization. I've met most of you. I've looked at the rosters. I've had an opportunity to speak to a lot of you. And that's a very achievable number, especially with the support staff that we have, the support from title and mortgage and insurance and the broker staff that have all been in the business a long time and can help explain, the day-to-day process of what has to happen and how to overcome issues that we're going to encounter, especially in changing markets. So 24 deals a year. Let's shift that real quickly to 32 deals a year. Okay. As good as we all think we are, we're all going to have deals fall apart. There are things that are just out of our control, job losses, people max out their credit cards. We've all seen it if you've been in the business for a while. People just do dumb things at times and deals fall apart. Inspection issues come up. So if you want to do 24 deals a year, we need to focus in on doing 32 deals a year. So write down 32 deals a year is what the goal is, because in actuality, that will yield you in a normal market like we're getting back to now, 24 deals a year. So 2.6 deals per month is what you need to do. And yes, it's 2.6 deals per month, not 2, not 3, 2.6 is what we need to focus on. 2.5 hours a day of prospecting is what you're going to have to do. Really, we can pull these deals from a number of places, right? They don't all have to be sellers. They don't all have to be buyers. They can be a combination of both. So definitely look at hitting both sides of the deals. In terms of schedules, let's I'm going to back up and go to schedules real quickly now that we know what the goal is here, so that we can make sure that we're set up the way we want to be set up. So question that I'm going to ask everybody is, what is the most important part of your schedule every single day? Most of you are probably going to say prospecting, which you hate doing. Actually, I think it's sleep. And that should also be the biggest block of time that you have every single day is sleep. If you're not sleeping, you're not going to have the energy. You're not going to have the mind set to do what you need to do every single day. Now, we all can operate with a different level of sleep. For me, I know in order to work with the level of intensity that I want to, and also get my exercise in every day, 5.5 to 6 hours of sleep is what I need. And a 10 to 15 minute nap throughout the day, that can be in my car, behind my desk. It really can be any place, and I'm good at napping. So for me, I know what my sleep pattern is. So make sure on your schedule you have sleep. The reason why it's really important to have a consistent sleep pattern is because then you're going to produce a consistent energy pattern. So you need to be getting to bed every night at the same time. You need to be waking up at the same time, because then your body gets used to that. It's like if you get used to running 5 miles a day, your body adjusts to it. Not a big deal. But if you're only used to running 5 miles a day and then you go out and run 15 or 20 miles one day, then all of a sudden the next day you're going to be just lethargic. So first things first, get your sleep in there, whatever it may be. Figure it out, get it in there. So I'm going to, in a 5-day, and yes, you're working 5 days a week, which is really part-time to a lot of high-producing agents. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is what I'm going to propose. Again, tweak this as necessary. There's going to be one night a week where we're going to switch your prospecting, lead generation, income producing activities, whatever you want to call it, to an evening versus, a morning or afternoon, just to try to hit the people that you're not reaching in the mornings, because everybody has a different schedule. So let's say Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday and Friday, for example, I would recommend being in the office at 8:55. Okay? Yes, not 8:45, not 9, 8:55. Jump on your emails at 9 a.m. So when I say get to the office at 8:55, that means you're in the office, sitting down at a desk at 8:55, fidgeting with whatever you need to, and you're ready to go at 9 o'clock. And if it takes you longer than that, maybe you need to get to the office at 8:50. So from 9 to, I'm going to say 9:25, get your emails out of the way that you need to get to. You know, we have a lot of clients that like to email at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night when their kids go to bed or whatnot. That's fine. Go ahead and respond to those. You have till 9:25 to do that. From 9:25 to 9:30, shut off your emails, turn off your notifications, shut your laptop, anything that's distracting you. You know, whether you need to shut off your notifications on your phone, whatever else, just do it so that you're not getting those distractions. I want you just to take a, you know, I like comedy. So for me, a lot of times I'll jump on a comedy site and listen to something funny for 5 minutes, make me laugh. You know, it just gets my juices flowing and gets me in a better mood. I've noticed if I listen to like talk radio, it gets my blood pressure up and it gets me really worked up. So it might be some calming music. There's some great apps on our phones these days. In fact, a lot of athletes are using these apps too. I think LeBron James sponsors Calm. You can listen to the beach or the rainforest or whatever it may be to get you excited. This last week, my son had a really good game. And I found that, you know, watching the highlights from that game that were videotaped got me in a really good mood and a really good spirit and helped me get on the phone to do my prospecting. So you got 5 minutes to clear your head and get ready. Think of that like for a professional athlete, that's like the national anthem. For a lot of big athletes, the national anthem is a time when they're really getting focused in for the game because they're getting ready for tip-off, kickoff, or whatever it may be. From 9:30 to 11. Okay, 9:30 to 11, you are pounding the pavement prospecting. Okay, I don't care if you feel good. I don't care if you don't feel good. I don't care if you have a man cold or whatever else. This should be done every single day. I don't care if you're on vacation. I mean, there's no reason you can't take an hour and a half, even when you're on vacation, to just make those important prospecting phone calls. They yield so much income. It makes no sense that you wouldn't want to do that. And I don't care where you are on vacation. If you have service, okay, now there are exceptions if you don't have service, but if you have service, there's no way that you can be busy for 22 hours out of that day. So 9:30 to 11, you're prospecting. Now I would focus in at that time period, whatever your best source of prospecting is, that's what you should be doing. Okay. I know a lot of times people get into coaching and now all of a sudden they're throwing in whether it's expires or cancels, or you may not be good at that. And that's okay. We will work on that. But for the time being, right now, let's focus on creating some positive momentum and some confidence. So whatever your best prospecting is, jump on it. If you don't know what that is, call me, call Daryl, call your broker. And we got to figure it out real quickly. Let's look at your commission statements and find out where those leads are coming from. If you don't have one, let's start with sphere of influence. And it's been a long time since I've obviously gotten started, so that may not be the best one now, but I'll get Daryl's input on that. But I think sphere of influence would be the best place to start if you really don't know. At 11 o'clock, take a 15-minute break. Okay. And when I say take a break, that doesn't mean, you know, get on the phone and dink around. That just means take a break. This is your halftime in essence, right? This is an opportunity for you to sit back, clear your head, process how that went. What can you do different today, tomorrow to improve on that hour and a half, right? That basically that hour and a half was your game. You know, you don't get an overtime per se. So you really have to maximize those minutes that you have. Clear your head. If you need, you know, re-energize, that's usually when I have my energy drink or my third round of coffee or whatever else is that in that 15 minutes. Okay. From 11:15 to 11:45, you're going to do your B stack, which is your secondary prospecting. And then from 11:45 to 12:15, so these are two 30-minute windows. Okay. From there, we're going to go ahead and do your C stack. So B and C stack 30 minutes a day. Okay. From 12:15 to 12:35, refuel, AKA lunchtime, right? I personally don't like eating a big lunch. And I love food. Don't get me wrong. I am a junk food junkie. In fact, I got my 7-Eleven maple bar right here. I got my potato chips right here. I love food. But if you have a huge lunch, I think most of us would agree, you get tired, you get lethargic, all your blood goes down into your stomach. So we don't need, in my opinion, to have a big lunch. It's just not conducive to prospecting, right? It's just like, would you have a big lunch at halftime in between or during a game? No, absolutely not. You're doing just enough to refuel to get you through the next stage. So 12:15 to 12:35 is refuel or lunch. And yes, I understand that's only a 20-minute window. That is more than enough time to refuel. 12:35 to 1 o'clock, emails, right? I tend to find that most of my emails from agents, inspectors, appraisers, and stuff like that tends to come in usually between 10 and 12 o'clock or at 4:45 right before the deadlines of contracts, right? So that's an opportunity to, during the day, go ahead and get those emails out and respond to things that you need to respond to, and so forth. If you have listings, definitely use like a showing time or something so you're not having to be distracted with that. Tiff's probably laughing right now. She, asked me to implement that long before I did, and it was a godsend. So definitely look at using services like that to take away from the servicing aspects of the day. 1 to 4 is when I would recommend you set up your appointments. Okay. That's appointments, your price reductions if you have listings, servicing the current clients you have, and inspections, appraisals, and things like that. Also, when you might be, if you don't have an assistant, you need to be working on seller disclosures, things like that. And then 4 to 5, I would prep for, actually, sorry, let me back up. So from 1 to 4, because this is a broader spectrum of time, and what tends to happen is when we don't have it narrowed down to specific time slots, we just end up going home. So there should be a checklist every single day. So whether you have a notebook, I still prefer, honestly, notepads. And the reason why is, just like I can tell you everything, we've spoken about, I like to be able to touch it. I know everybody likes to go to iPads these days and the technology, and I have iPads, they're great. But when I have notes, for me, it's a lot easier to go back and find what was working, what wasn't working, what can I do today. It's just a lot easier for me to do that. So I have just, stacks and stacks of notes over the years of what worked and what didn't work. I also have my checklists and my scoreboards in my office. So I know exactly. In fact, literally, they are scoreboards that you would see at like a rec league basketball game where you flip the score over. So I have, how many people I've talked to, how many listings, how many price reductions, so that I mentally every day come into the office, so I'm like, I'm ahead. Let's see if I can set a record this month or this week or today, or I'm behind, I better get my butt in gear, whatever that may be. For me, that's motivating. But have that checklist every day so okay, I've done my price reductions. I've done my hour of servicing or 30 minutes of servicing. And from 4 to 5 is prep. Okay. What I mean by prep is prep for tomorrow. Okay. You should never leave the office with crap all over your desk, tasks not taken care of, and you may have to stay late, and that's fine. It's part of the job. If you have to add an hour of servicing because you have a deal blowing up, do not take away from the prospecting. So if that means you got to get to the office earlier, get to the office earlier. Okay. That's one thing that should not change every single day, because you will get more from keeping that on the schedule than you will from saving deals by taking away your prospecting. So for me, for example, at the end of the day, I go through and readjust, who I've talked to, who I didn't talk to, who I didn't get a hold of, so that when I get to the office at 8:55 in the morning, whatever that may be, I'm ready to go. Like I literally just have everything sitting ready to go. All I have to do is sit down and put an earpiece in and start dialing. That's all I have to do. And so what happens is when you don't get it done the night before, you show up at the office and instead of starting your prospecting at 9:30, it's now 10 o'clock and you haven't even started. You're going to spend 30 minutes a day deciding who you're going to call. That's not prospecting. Prospecting from 9:30 to 11 with your A stack or your A group is literally on the phone doing that the entire time. So think of it like getting on a treadmill. If you're going to run for an hour and a half on a treadmill, we're only counting the time that your feet are striking the treadmill. If you jump off to drink water for 30 seconds, that doesn't count as an hour and a half of prospecting, in my opinion, right? Now, I know the treadmill oftentimes keeps moving, so it keeps counting the mileage as if you're on there, but it's not, and don't cheat yourself. So we had a question come up in regards to, well, if I only do 20 deals a year, 30 deals a year, I should be able to go on appointments whenever I want because I have all the time. Well, absolutely. But I would say it's actually just the opposite. If you're doing less than 50 deals a year, maybe 100 deals a year, you really don't have the luxury of going on those appointments whenever you want. The agents doing 50, 100, 200, 300, 400 deals a year, they have earned it. They can go whenever they want. And they've also proven that through the ups and downs that no matter what, they get their prospecting done. They get their lead generation done every single day. They find a way to fit it in no matter what. So they've earned that, right? If you're doing less than 30 deals a year, you need to buckle down on a schedule because I would very confidently say that's where you're lacking is in a schedule that you can repeat. And obviously the first thing we need to ask is, do you want to do better? Because if you don't, then it's irrelevant. But if you do, then we really need to buckle down on that schedule. And then when you get to a 50 or 100 deals a year, then you have more luxury in saying, okay, the seller's got to meet with me at this time. I'm going to go. Because at that point, you've proven day in and day out, you're getting your prospecting done. And maybe, have your broker or have an agent in the office be an accountability partner to help you with that and give you an objective look at whether or not you're truly putting in the time, the energy, and the effort. Because I can tell you, when I've had people ask me to come just step in with them and watch them prospect, yeah, they had their phone and their earpiece in for an hour. They didn't do an hour and a half of prospecting, right? It's like the average person that goes to the gym for an hour, when you really look at it, maybe does 18 to 22 minutes of actual exercise. If they're lifting weights, if they're doing cardio, a little bit different. But if they're lifting weights, they actually only have weights in their hand or actually doing movements for 18 to 22 minutes. That's not really an hour of exercise, right? So when I say an hour and a half from 9:30 to 11, that is constantly dialing. You hang up one, you're on the phone with the next. Okay. So again, that hour of prep time is a lot of work too, to make sure you have enough calls in place to make that happen. If you don't, you need to get with your broker. You need to start using some of the programs that RE/MAX offers. And there's a lot of agents in the office, myself included, that, you need more people to call. I can give you more people to call. None of us in today's market are short on people to call. In fact, I don't have enough hours in the day to call all the people that I'd like to call, to be 100% honest with you. So definitely keep to that schedule. I find that agents doing 30 or less deals, they tend to want to reward themselves by getting out of prospecting with the appointments. Like, oh, I got an appointment, so I'm going to do it at 9:30 to 11, so I don't have to do my prospecting for the day. And that's your reward. Well, you're actually penalizing yourself. You should be getting both in every single day. Now you're getting your prospecting in, so you're setting more appointments, and you got your appointment. So again, stop taking the path of least resistance, if that makes sense. Couple of tips. So, we talked about doing 32 deals. That's the goal, because that will equate to 24. So deals are going to fall apart. When you get to a certain level, it becomes how to better manage the deals that you have. And, I remember a lot of golf coaches talking about, it's not the swing, it's not the putting stroke at this point. Now it's a matter of course management. How do you get around the course? What shots are you hitting? It's the same thing with real estate in a declining market right now. It's not just the deals necessarily, but how are you keeping them under contract? Are you just letting them go? Are you just taking no for an answer? Are you looking for second, third, fourth opinions during the due diligence periods, or if the home tests positive for meth or radon or, situations like that? Are you really talking it through with the buyer and buyer's agent? Are you really talking it through with the seller? Have you considered actually having a sit down during the due diligence with the buyer and buyer's agent? If you're the listing agent, it's a lot easier to get them on board in person, especially in a slower market. And, if you've got, if you're doing 32 deals a year from 1 to 4 every day, that gives you enough time to sit down with those agents and or buyers and make deals happen. Ask the agents in the office for advice. I ask agents on a weekly basis, hey, how do I do this better? What do you do for this? Don't ever think we have it figured out, because we don't. And there are things I learned from agents that do 20 or 30 deals a year. Honestly, I look at a lot of these agents that do 20 deals a year and don't do any prospecting. And to me, that's just amazing. I mean, it just boggles my mind. So I love talking to agents like that, because I look at that saying, man, how can I have 20 deals a year doing no prospecting? I would love to do that. That's a 6-figure pay raise for me. How do you do that? I can implement that. That's really, really easy for me. It turns out it's usually not. And I say that because what I am good at is prospecting. What I'm not great at, a lot of other agents are, and that's, making funny videos and generating leads through their sphere of influence in social media and things like that. So ask the agents in the office. Don't be shy about it. We're here to help. And again, a lot of agents can help me, and that's why I'm always asking them, what can I do differently? I think that's pretty much it for today. I try to keep it short and sweet for you, so hopefully this helps. Really, I would say, let's break down that prospecting time for you. You're basically looking at changing what you're doing. So to make it achievable, and on a scale that we can adhere to every day, you need 1 contact per 10 minutes. That's very doable. 1 contact per 10 minutes. And you know what? Sometimes you're going to get 3 in 10 minutes, and then you're not going to get any for a while. That's fine. Just plan on 1 contact per 10 minutes. 75 contacts a week, 300 a month, 1,200 a quarter. I don't even want to look at yearly, multi-year stuff. That's too far out for you. We really need to focus in on the minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, week by week. Let's just leave it at that for now. You guys need to really focus in on, if you want to get from, it sounds like we have a lot of agents doing 8 to 10 deals. Okay. I can tell you it's a lot easier. Your life will be a lot easier. Your connections, your contacts, your skills, a lot better if you're doing 25 to 30 deals a year. You'll actually find that there's a lot less headache and BS, and things just run a lot smoother. You're running more of a conveyor belt at that point in time. So really make the commitment to just getting to 25 or 30 deals a year. And this is a market you should be able to do it in now. And I say that, yes, I understand as clear as anybody what the sales are doing and how much they're dropping and how much interest rates have gone up, blah, blah, blah. But for agents doing a lower level of deals, most of their transactions, if I'm wrong, Daryl, let me know, are usually on the buyer side. Well, you guys actually have options now. There are plenty of homes to choose from right now, right? So this is a market when you should easily be able to up that, especially when we have agents getting out of the business, when most of the agents I talk to are being very negative. When I'm talking to sellers and prospects on a daily basis, and I ask them, what do they think of the market? How are they feeling? And most of them say, man, everybody I talk to is just so negative. Just being positive and showing up upbeat is going to put you ahead of the competition in most cases. So again, one contact per 10 minutes, 15 a day. Okay. Very easy to do. Let me know how we can help tweak that for you guys. Again, hopefully this helps. But there's not an agent that I saw on the roster that I looked at that I felt like, oh, there's no way they're going to get to 32 deals a year, right? Everybody in our company can do it, and we all have the resources here to do it. Don't be shy. Just ask us what we can do to help you out. So again, I appreciate you allowing me to take 20 minutes of your time today. Hopefully this helps. Let me know what we can do to improve your business this year. Anything else, Daryl?
You know what? That's fantastic, guys. This is pure gold. Pure gold. This there's some meat in this one that you can really sink your teeth into. But I do have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
We talk about, and this is a little bit of Brian Buffini. There's the A clients, B clients, and C clients, and so on. What do you consider your B stack and your C stack? Who's actually in those different categories?
So the A stack are people that I am looking at that have a desire to buy or sell today.
Okay.
The B stack is usually past clients, people that generate referrals for me. And then the C stack is usually my follow-up of, well, we might be putting it back on the market in springtime, or we might be putting it back on the market when this happens. And it's just kind of a tickler of following up with them to check in and see if they want an update on the market, if anything has changed in their circumstances, or are they still thinking about selling in spring if this and this happens. How are things going with graduation, or we have clients that say, well, I'm going to move as soon as my kids graduate high school, or blah, blah, blah. So the C stack are people I know that are in most cases not today, but then the C stack moves to the B stack, and then the B stack moves to the A stack a lot of times. And then you get A stack going the opposite direction as well. But that's how I've set mine up. And I know there's better ways to set it up. I know, Mike Ferry, Buffini, a couple of the other coaches have, I think, better ways of setting that up. But that's just what I've done, and that's what's worked for me. And to be honest, I should probably look at, going in and changing that a little bit, but that's how I've broken down my A, B, and C stack.
I don't think necessarily better, just different. Everybody does a little different, and that's what we're here to try to learn how you do this. So we appreciate you being candid. But what about the new leads? Like, let's say you got some new FSBOs or some new expireds. Would they go into your A stack, even though they're cold? Those would be high priority, or would they?
Correct. Yeah. There's no shelf life, right, on leads, right? And it's interesting because people say, well, oh, I can call them tomorrow. Well, by tomorrow, or gosh, even by, let's say, lunchtime, a good expired or FSBO has been contacted 30 times.
Yeah.
They're not even answering their phone at this point in time. They're screening calls.
They're fatigued.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah.
So there's no shelf life. So absolutely, those need to get into the A stack. Now, once I think a lot of these agents, we're able to help them get to the level of production that I don't want to say that they want to be at, but just improve, I guess, their production. Then we can start tweaking that schedule. And as they start hitting more expires, FSBOs, and things like that, that schedule, those hours should change in all actuality. But for right now, if they're doing that number of deals, I can in confidence say, they're not hitting the expires and the FSBOs, and that's okay. They don't need to. I know that's kind of an odd segment of the market that people don't like dealing with. Sphere of influence is a good one. I actually always rather talk to somebody I don't know and ask for business, honestly, than call a friend. I'm more embarrassed to call a friend and ask for business, truth be told. And that's something I need to work on. And always have had to work on. So again, we're all a little different that way, but the sphere of influence, I think, is a big one. And if you've been in the business a long time and have done a lot of deals, gosh, I think that's when you should be hitting. Circle prospecting is a great one as well. Whatever that routine is. And, I have an agent that I know really well that loves open houses, if you can imagine that. But he does open houses. He gets all the neighbors to come. He does like a barbecue. And he consistently, through the ups and downs of markets, because he's been doing it about 15 years, usually gets another listing in the neighborhood within 3 months of doing an open house of the one he's selling currently. So it doesn't have to be great. But if you continue to do it over and over again, you're going to get results. I mean, I've seen coaching programs talk about if you're the worst salesman in the world, but you're making X number of phone calls a day and going on X number of appointments a week, you are going to make well into the six figures in this business.
Yeah, I hate to
Not
be
because you're
bothered
good, but just because you continue to do it over and over and
but I'm
over
not,
again.
you know,
I mean,
as
it
tech
always
savvy as all
baffles
these
me when I
people.
watch the
Oh, yeah,
marathon.
everybody's
and
gonna
hopefully I don't
need
offend anybody in saying this, but I live close to where there's a triathlon, an Ironman route. So I can look out my back patio and see them doing the Ironman. And, you know, the Ironman, you tend to see people that are in pretty good shape and have pretty nice looking physiques. The marathon, there are people that I look at the marathon and I'm like, there is no way that lady can do, or that guy can do a marathon and I can't. Are you kidding me? I mean, just overweight, don't look like they've ever done anything cardiovascular in their life, and they go do it, and good for them. That's awesome. But that just goes to show you, if you do the competitive daily routine, you're going to get, your body will adapt to it. And it's going to take time for people to get into shape, not just physically, but more so emotionally in shape for dealing with the rigors of prospecting. You know, if I jumped in with some of my buddies that play sports, you know, I mean, I had to scrimmage with my 8th graders in football this year. We did a last year we're doing it, coaches versus kids. And it was, you know, no pads, but it got pretty full contact. And yeah, I can tell you, I just can't sprint the way I used to back to back to back. And I definitely can't move the way I can side to side. So you know, it's one of those things where if you continue to do it, your body will adjust both physically and mentally. And a big part of that, again, is I never tend to hear people talk about sleep in their schedule. And I'm sure there are people that do, but I've never had a real estate coach come to me and say, hey, we need to start with sleep. To me, as a former athlete, as somebody who's raising an athlete, that's the most important part. So sleep and the nutrition, because then I can create a very replicatable routine every single day with levels of energy. And again, I love my donuts and everything, but I have to be careful when I eat them because I don't want to spike my insulin and then I'm sleeping 10 minutes later. So the schedule is important. Again, I think the most important thing in this whole video today is we can all do this. You know, we can add that 22 deals a year. That's the easiest way to do it. And I know I use a lot of golf analogy or sports analogies because we're a sports family, but it's really easy if you shoot 100 in golf, right, to get down into the 90s. And it's easy to go from 90s to 80s. Gets a little tougher to go from 80s to 70s. Now, when you become a scratch golfer, shaving a quarter stroke around gets tougher. Shaving, just because you're a good ball striker, you're a good putter, you're a good chipper. Now it's a course management thing. Now it's a totally different aspect. And so
different skills.
It really is. And the good news is you don't have to worry about that until you're getting to 50 plus deals a year. I would say even 100 plus deals a year, to be honest with you. I would say, and I know a lot of people would disagree with me on this, but it's just like if I get injured or get out of shape, you know, and have to get back into shape, I just say, you know what, I'm going to go as hard as I can every day, as long as I possibly can. So if that's 42 minutes, if it's an hour, I'm just going to go until I just can't go anymore physically. And I just know that it's going to get me back into shape quicker. And then once I feel like I'm back into shape, then I start implementing the schedules and the specific routines to really maximize that time. Right now, I would say the prospecting is go, 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 go. And if anybody said, what is the one thing that you'd really preface, is just do it, just go.
For sure. Absolutely. For sure.
And then you're like, well, who do I call? I'm like,
you know, that was my next comment is everyone out there thinking, well, how do I come up with 300 phone calls a month? Who am I going to call? And if you're not familiar or not used to making phone calls to your clients, start there. Call the ones that are friendly. Call and reacquaint yourself with the people you've done business with before that know you, and at least start making some calls. And then you can broaden that out by looking for different sources, whether it be FSBOs, whether it be expireds, or any other source. There can be clubs, lists of people that you are associated with in another hobby, whatever it is. You can use those lists to come up with people to call. Start with your sphere. That's the easiest place to start. Just get started, right?
Are most of our agents doing, 8 to 10 deals? Are they newer agents, or are they just veteran agents that just really haven't hit their full stride?
Well, the majority actually of our agent population is kind of in that range statistically, and it's for one reason or another, and it's not new agents. It's agents that have been in the business a long time. You get into bad habits. You let your day diminish into what you're only working 2 or 3 hours a day in reality. And this schedule will bring you back to life. I don't care if you only make 20 phone calls a day. If you'll make some phone calls, get started, it'll improve. But it's like you said, if I'm 300 pounds and I'm out of shape and I used to be in great shape, I'm not going to get there overnight. This is going to take some time for you to break those bad habits, get back to the office in the morning, get to work, and do it every single day, or these new habits won't stick. Hey, a couple other questions for you.
Yes, sir.
You got a scoreboard. Tell me what's on your scoreboard. What are your top 3 key performance indicators?
So listings taken, listings sold, price reductions. And obviously we really haven't used the price reductions until about June of this year.
Yeah, it's true.
That one's kind of been 0, to be honest with you. But now it's, for every listing taken, I gotta get a price reduction, in my opinion. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. And it may actually, I had an agent call me the other day and said, "Oh my gosh, you have X amount of listings." And he was like, "That's amazing." And the first thing I thought was, shoot, I got to get X amount of price reductions because
that's right.
So, it's just different way of looking at it.
So if you think about those 3 things, those are 3 huge steps towards a closing, right?
Correct.
You're not going to get
underneath those.
Yeah.
And underneath those, that's where I have my individual notes every day, that I'm taking down, where I'm keeping track of, okay, how many appointments did I set? How many contacts have I made? Because I want to visually see it every single time, because to me, that's rewarding. And the reason why I still believe in stuff like notepads is there is proven, just like it's proven that if you actually read a book and annotate in it, you're actually going to retain it a little bit better than it is on a Kindle or other devices like that. That's why a lot of schools still use the textbooks, even though they are more expensive and a pain in the butt. So for me, it's visually rewarding to check off an assignment done or a task done for the day. And it feels good at the end of the day if you didn't get a listing to look at what you've accomplished for the day and say, okay, I got through all of this.
Yeah.
Now it's just trust the process.
That's right.
Now it's just like, I know this is working for everybody else that follows this process, so I'm going to follow the process. I mean, there are days when I don't feel like I accomplished anything in my exercise and blah, 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 but I know if I keep doing it every single day, I'm going to continue to get the results, better results and results that I want. So I do keep track of all those contacts as well every single day.
Okay, so add to that a little bit. We got appointments made, contacts made. What other criteria are on your scoreboard, on your notepad?
So on the notepad, it's appointments and then contacts. Those are the 2 things I keep track of every single day. And I keep track of them, actually. In fact, it's funny. So what I would normally use is just the normal title company memo pad they give you, right? That's what I've been using for years. Just straight line down the center, left side's appointments, right side is contacts. And then what I do is I just fold them over. And again, I know people are going to be like, are you serious? That's the next day. That's Tuesday. And then I fold it over again. That's Wednesday. So at the end of the week, I have all that. And then I put it on my chart. So then I have a chart at the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year, going back 13 years now.
That's pretty sophisticated technology. I'm not sure I can quite keep
right?
up.
I mean, and again, I know computers are better at that stuff, but there's just something about, in my eyes, and you can, Tiffany and Kelly are nice enough to put them on spreadsheets for me so I can look at them that way. And, I have notes that are so old, the ink's fading on the paper, to be honest with you, but
That's funny.
But at least this way, every single day I'm going through that routine. So it's just like, man, I felt like I was having a really good day, but I've only made X amount of contacts today. I got to get my butt in gear, or, I'm going to stay a little bit later tonight to get these contacts done. So every single day you have got to find a way to get to whatever the goals are. And if they're the goals we set, it's the 15 contacts and basically you're setting, half an appointment a day. And I know that sounds corny, but we really have to look at the mathematics on this and the analytics of it. It's half appointment a day. So if you set one Monday, go ahead and try to set one Tuesday. You may or may not. And then you may have a 3 or 4 day period where you don't have any. It will average out, but you really, the goal is to get an appointment every day and 15 contacts every day. And if you miss it, you got to make up for it. If you decide to take 4 days off of prospecting, you got to add those 60 contacts someplace.
That's right. That's right. All right. Or you fall behind, right? You don't hit your goal. And if you want your business to be predictable and not on a roller coaster, you're going to have to maintain these routines every single day. That's what produces the results. So Ryan, this is fantastic stuff. I know you're a busy guy, and this is a lot of time for you to contribute to us, so I appreciate it. Guys, if I get this done like I'm hoping to on this week's bulletin, you'll have this recording, and I'll give you a summary of some of these notes so that you won't have to write all these things down. But please engage with what he's taught you today, and I guarantee you will have results. The entire company will benefit. You will benefit personally, and you'll be healthier and happier, right? Get your sleep. That's a really important fact. All right. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. We'll see you guys next week.